Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of the season. This is Challenger League Season 12, and we are back in the land of the Magyars. It is the Hungarian Sea Prix today at the new Margaret Island circuit, and the drivers have been very vocal about their worries about this track on the calendar. It's quite the fast, sweeping track through this rather narrow island, very akin to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada, but we have a lot of drivers worrying about their eventual, that race style will be quite technical, of course. We've got Matima in the Reich Auto once again. We have our championship leader in 6Y actually out, not available for this race, so it's a big chance for some of his title contenders to gain some much needed points in that fight for the title. We've got Flix and Figueroa both tying after one lap of qualifying. They do have two more chances to maybe put a better time in, just at the edge of the 27-second barrier here. Expect a little bit more from some of these drivers. Matima does put in a better lap, but it is only enough to tie, so we've got a three-way tie for the first three positions though. Ethan in P4, then it's Daromis and Rusky. So still a lot of time that can be gained for everyone really on this last lap here. We're just following Figueroa. He's putting in some nice lines for the final sector of the race course here. And will Figueroa improve? It looks like he will tie. Oh, and it's still tied at the end of it. That is quite interesting. No one able to break through that 27-second barrier. And I think it should be Flix first, then Figueroa, then Matima. Matima should definitely be in third based on how when they put the time in, but all things considered, good result for the Reich Autos. They've guaranteed themselves the top three on the grid with both cars, and Flix will be hoping to start well, at least for that for the feature race later on. Jaruni in P4, good result. He had a little bit of an improvement on that last lap to get into that position. Ethan in P5 alongside Daromis in 6th for the VEOs. Good to see him back in the car. Rusky and Dumarkina clear out the 4th road for VPT. Just 1/100th between those two. Then it's Existent in 9th and Guziman, who will start us off on pole for the sprint race. P10, just 33/100ths back from the pole time here. Second half of the grid, Urist rounds up P11, followed by Rams. I believe a former teammate once long ago in P12. Bunewitz James for the HRT team, followed by Red Lobster, who is subbing in for 6Y today in the Lusa Britannica. Nakes in P15, tied with Kiato in 16th with a 27.85. Then it's Jake, barely 9/10ths back with that time. P17 filling in for the Bobcats. And it's Bubbles and Goose rounding us off. Goose not having a great lap there at the end, but this is quite a difficult track, and the drivers have a lot to do in that sprint, especially just coming up in the wet. 14 laps, and it's going to be a rather treacherous affair once we get down to it. And here we are in the wet. Guziman leading us off. X6 alongside, then it's the VPTs as we get underway here for the sprint race. Guziman taking a nice tight line through turn 1. Ooh, there's a lot of trouble going on. Dumarkina swerving back and forth, trying to follow in that slipstream. Rusky is through into P2, but Dumarkina makes a very risky dive there. It actually works out pretty well for him. Daromis is jumping all over the place. I'm not sure what's going on with him, and Matima is alongside him, and there's a big gap already following between the top 6 and everyone else due to that. And Red Lobster has lost out a bunch of time as well. He's all the way at the back. I'm not sure if he had a delayed start or anything. Oh dear. Oh, huge shove there. Goose went straight into that collision at turn 2 there. And the chaos is not stopping. At the moment though, it's Guzman who has a clean run of it. He's a second ahead of everyone else as we just end lap 2 here. Rusky, then X6. Daromis in P4 now. Figueroa followed by Matima. Dumarkina with Flix and Urist alongside. Then it's a big gap to the next group. P10 to Ethan and Bunyo. It's James right behind him. Kiato and Rams following through. Then Jaruni and Game on Goose Goose with the big dive there, gets through on the Belarusian driver. Nake's behind him, then it's Jake and Mr. Bubbles with Red Lobster rounding us out at the moment. Pretty chaotic start, all things considered, but it is the Norwegian driver through into the lead of the race. Rusky has also seemed to gap X6, who's now getting challenged by Doromis. He's going to try and look to the inside of turn 1. It becomes the inside of turn 2 as well. It's pretty tight here. X6 still controls his line pretty well. Rusky's actually fallen away a bit. So X6 now into P2. After that, pretty well driven, all things considered. Rusky finding a lot of trouble on that tight corner at the end of that straight here. Let's Urst go by into P5 now. Doromis and Matima fighting away just in front of him. Flicks now also trying to follow through on the two drivers here. Rusky and Dumarkina getting quite shoved off to the outside. We're almost 4 wide heading into the hairpin here. Figueroa cops the brunt of it into turn 2, but turn 3 he gets that switchback, at least gets Dumarkina here. But yeah, interesting result here. Matima and Doroma still fighting away. It gives Urus the chance to get into this, and so does it to Rusky as well. Flicks, oh my god, it's just like the drivers are just flip-flopping on positions here. Urus and Rusky going super wide into the final corner. Looks like they've held onto the position though. Flicks getting into it. They might go 3 wide into the next corner. Rusky backs out of it, and good for him there, because he's able to get past Figueroa and Flicks as well. Now he is into P4. No, Flicks is back into P4. It is absolute flip-flopping here. Urus goes super deep and hits the barrier there. But it's still Figueroa holding on to P4. And it's just letting the top 3 at the moment run away. Guzman now almost 3 seconds ahead with X-System chasing down. He has the fastest lap of the race so far. Matima in P3. Figueroa holding 4th at the moment. It's 3 wide into turn 2. Rusky backs out. And again, it's worked out in the Hungarians' favour. And now it's a VPT 5 and 6, sorry. Urus in 7th. Flicks and Doroma still chasing. And it's letting some of the drivers further back also get into this fight here. Rams now into the top 10. Buddy-Witz, James and Kiato fighting away right behind them. Ethan as well behind them. Then it's Nakes, Jaruni, Bubbles, Jake, Red Lobster and Goose fighting away at the back of the field. Looks like Red Lobster has gotten through on the Canadian there. But it is all smooth sailing for the Norwegian. The Viking coming in the wet conditions, as we just passed the halfway mark of the race now too. So the drivers will have to deal with even more worn tyres. And the worn tyres can really get quite difficult to battle with here. X6 and Matima going side by side. It looks like X6 has let the pole through. Maybe just to avoid any extra trouble that may come from battling. Figueroa still in P4. He's having to fight with Rusky and Dumarkina in that interesting new livery they're sporting for this race. Rusky ahead of his teammate still trying to hold on to that slipstream. Figueroa is looking quite nice with it though. It looks like he's evaded the 2 drivers behind him. Then it's Flicks in P7. Kiato behind him in 8th. Urus and Rams side by side. Looks like Urus has better speed, but Rams is the inside line. Urus turns in really early for that, and it looks like it might have been able to get himself into that position. Into P9 just for the moment. Rams is still looking for an option here on the inside, but it becomes the outside of the next 2 corners. Oh, it's massive side-by-side driving, but Urus and Rams go into the barrier there, and Rams has copped a bunch of time loss there. He's fallen away to Bunny-Witz, James and Doromis as well. He's now back into P11. Doromis as well has really fallen back. Jaruni into P13. Nakes, and then Ethan, Bubbles, Goose, Jake, and Lobster back in the back of the pack as well. He's not been able to really get out of this spot. Fighting with the 2 one former team owner, one current team owner at the moment, and the lag rockets just keep going for the Turkish driver. It's not going quite well for him today. Tries to make a move on Jake, but he just can't manage it with the grip at the moment. It's absolute trouble at the back of the field. Guzman still running away with this. Matima seems to have dropped X6, and Figueroa is through into P3. But it is a 4-way fight for that position with just 2.5 laps to go. And the grip is not looking favourable for the drivers at all. But the Figueroa is still finding a way through. X6 with a bit of trouble back there. Dumark and Kiato. Oh, if they go 3 wide into this, it could be a ton of trouble here. Kiato tries to break early. Dumarkina follows him through, and X6 has lost out a bunch of time there, and he's lost out on the slipstream too. Figueroa makes a mistake, Kyoto through into P3. Dumarkina tries to find a switch back there, it's just not going to work with the grip they have at the moment. But it's Kyoto through, it might be 2. Nordic Blizzards on the podium. They've got one more lap to settle this out. Figueroa finding himself losing even more time as Dumarkina and Kyoto go side by side. X6 still in 6th, then it's Flix, Rusky, Bunyo, it's James, Urist, but it is Guzman running away on the back straight now. In the final lap of the race, he has been calmly in the lead, but he's actually lost quite a lot of time to Matimar at the tail end of this race. So the pole, maybe with a better start, could really find some momentum into that sprint race, into that feature, sorry. But it is Guzman running away, winning the sprint race here. Kyoto and Matimar side by side. Matimar will just hit him into P2. Kyoto taking 3rd. Dumarkina in 4th. Then I believe X6 just taking over Flix. No, it's a tie for P6 there. Rusky in 8th. Then it's Urist ahead of Rams, followed by Doromus and Bunyas James. Daruni, followed by Ethan, Nakes, Bubbles, Red Lobster, Jake, and Goose rounding us out. Wow, interesting that tie for P6 there. But, yeah, wow. And Kyoto also took the fastest lap right at the tail end. I'm not sure what happened there, but he must have gotten a lot of slipstream there with that. And solid result to get that P3. Almost fought away. Almost got that P2 at the end there. Matimar finding a bit of trouble there. But Kyoto's pace on the final few laps was absolutely brilliant. He'll definitely love that P3. But it is Guzman taking near maximum points for the feature, for the sprint race, sorry. Keep getting those mixed up, don't know why. Matimar in 2nd, Kyoto 3rd. Dumarkina, solid result with 4th place there. Figueroa in 5th, and it's X6 and Flix, 6th and 7th. But then we will be tied, so they will be sharing the points for that, I believe. Rusky in P8, followed by Urist and Rams rounding out the top 10. Doromus in 11th, just ahead of Bunyots James. Then Jaruni in 13th, Ethan, Nakes, Bubbles, Lobster, Jake, and Goose for the sprint race today. What a race. And we can only imagine even more chaos will ensue come the long-running feature race. We've got, I believe, 36 laps in the dry, and that really allows for a lot of strategy, I believe. This is a track where there isn't seeming to be one solid tire choice, because the softs don't really go for that long, while the hards can last quite the long time. So we might have a little bit of a difference compared to most of the races we've seen, where the softs and sometimes the mediums seem to be the best strategy, but the hards could definitely come into play on this circuit. We'll have to see how that plays out in the feature race in just a few moments. Alright, but welcome back. We've got strategy on the way with our feature race today. Flix leading us off, the lights are out, and away we go. It's Flix, Figueroa, Matimar, Jaruni getting a good start too. As we enter turn 1, Ethan makes a bold dive there, and he's through into P3. Big result here for him, but Jaruni gets through as well. It's an absolute mess of cars as we enter this time. Oh my goodness, Jaruni finding a ton of trouble there. Just unable to put the brakes on properly. Bunny, it's James and Rams through. Yeah, that lag rocket really not helping him there. Jake getting through as well. It looks like most of the drivers have hit the barrier at least once here, but Figueroa is leading us away. Flix in the P2, then it's Matimar, Guzman, Dumarkina, X6, Doromus. Huge, that might be a huge lag rocket, but no, it's Urist and Rusky slowing down just in time for them to make that corner there. Jaruni in that fight as well, with X6 is falling away a little bit. Ethan through, no, gets squeezed out on the inside of that corner. Kyoto, Jake, Bunyo might have been forced into the grass there. A lot of fast laps coming in now. And Rams and Nakes at the back end of this little pack here. Bubbles, Lobster, Goose rounding out the order so far, but it is Flix and Figueroa at the start. Dumarkina running quite well, deciding on the medium tyre. And as most drivers have gone onto the softs, but a few have chanced it on the mediums and the hards. Dumarkina will really benefit from that great start he's gotten. He's slowly going to fall into P4. Matimar trying to get through. So is Doromus with that fast lap he's just set. And Dumarkina copying the brunt of that on the medium tyre. He'll be falling down to P6. Kyoto and Rusky also on the mediums. And then you've got Jake, Rams, and Bunyel on the hard tyres, and everyone else is on the softs. So we'll just have to see how the hard tyres and the mediums will do compared to the softs. Especially come to the midpoint and around like lap 5, lap 6 of the soft stint, because those will be the laps where the tyres really start to die out. He's making a dive there, but he's unable to control the extra speed he had onto the next corner, so he doesn't gain too much from that. But it is a tight battle between our top two. Flicks leading us away, but Figueroa makes an excellent move into that corner. Flick still holding on to the, just a half a car length, but Figueroa lets him through back into the lead. Figueroa at the switchback though, he's into the lead now, and Figueroa maybe will be setting up that move through the first sector. Maybe that's why he gave a bit of space to Flicks on the start finish. Red Lobster is DNFing from the race, and he's definitely not been happy with how his race has gone. Doromus is jumping all over the place. I'm thinking about maybe, I don't know what to do with that. We'll give him one more chance, I think. Matima is getting through, so is Urist, who will have to contend with the Welshman. Matty is through into P3. Doromus giving the big squeeze to Urist on the outside. It looks like he'll hold on to the slipstream for the time being. Dumarkina in P6 now, holding up Guzziman and Ethan behind him. It's lap 7 now, and both of our top two are still going for another lap. Matima not deciding on the pit. Who's going to pit first? It is X6 who makes that stop off the soft tyres. Bunyel, it's James, Jake, and Nakes fighting away. James on the hard tyre now. He'll be really looking for his chances here. Rams and Rusky also on some harder compounds compared to Nakes and Jake. He'll be hoping for not too much trouble here. The grip is really poor here. Nakes finds a ton of trouble on the grass. X6 now on that undercut as the leaders pit for those tyres. At least not the leaders, actually. Figueroa and Flicks going for a 9th lap here. Matima and Urist will be the first to react. Doromus as well heading in. So it actually is Matima, Doromus, Urist on the mediums now. So those three seemingly wanting to work together here. Kiato now in P4 on those medium tyres. Dumarkina will hopefully be going for another lap. Figueroa and Flicks will have to pit now. Those soft tyres are dead in the water. We'll have to see how everyone behind them makes do. Dumarkina for a 10th lap on the mediums. So will Kiato. Matima and Doromus on that undercut. Gained quite a bit of time on the top two, but it is Kiato in the middle of that group. Urist fallen away a little bit from the other two he pitted with, but he is on the medium tyres, so he'll be hoping for a different strategy to finish his second stint. Guzziman on the softs as well in P8. Then it's X6 who was the first to stop. Buddy of James still on the hard tyres, running for another lap. Keanu making that stop now. He's going on for the hards. Ethan finding some trouble here. Rams through, but Rams will have to pit very soon. So will Jake. Bunny James finding some trouble here. I think he's gotten shoved off by someone's trailer there. And he's fighting trouble. And now Jaruni's trying to make sure he doesn't get held up by the HRT driver. Looks like he's gotten through just fine. Kiato trying to make some moves on those hard tyres. It is Rams into the pits now. Onto the softs for him. Rusky in P15 now. Or 14 after passing Rams in the pit lane next. Then it's Rams out of the pits. Bubbles, Goose as the last one running at the moment. But it is Dumarkina running for a 12th lap on the medium tyre. He's going to make the stop now off those tyres, and maybe he'd be going for a 2-stop here if he can hold on to just being on the mediums the whole race. It could be a potential strategy he could go for, and Figueroa and Flicks will be hoping that maybe it wasn't too much of a risky call to go for 9 lap softs, because that's definitely a little past where most people were expecting the softs to run for. Maybe that extra lap though can help them set up for a potential 3-stop. But they are side by side, and there are still quite a ways away from Matima and Doromus, who have lost a bit of time trying to get through Kiato, who has made that stop here. Matima still in P3, still holding on to it ahead of Doromus. Guzziman, Urist is going to benefit from all of this slipstream as well to make those medium tyres work even better. And I think the mediums will actually work quite well here. This is a great chance for Urist to get a lot of a lot of extra time before he maybe puts on puts on softer tires and fresher tires than everyone else in front of him. There could be an outside chance for him to gain a lot of time on the front too with this strategy. Guzman finding some trouble in that corner. Gets in some trouble with Doromus, and Urst copping a little bit of the brunt there. But it's still P6 for the Portuguese driver. Dumarkina in P7, running on those medium tyres. X6 on some old softs now. He will make a quick stop here. So it's been 7 laps and then 8 laps for X6 on the soft tyre. And he will go in for another set of the softs. The first person to go in for another set of... a second stop, sorry. And so will Nakes follow him, and so will Red Lobster as well. Oh no, sorry, Red Lobster's out of the race. I just saw the pit lane thing. That's all good. Figueiredo is still in the lead. But Flix is definitely not far behind at all. Will anyone go for the undercut? That is the real question. Maybe we could see a medium tyre from one of these two, maybe try to go for a different strategy. Or will Figueira hold this lead? Because Flix is challenging, but he seems a bit comfortable in the slipstream at the moment. Someone going to make a move? No, because anyone making an early move here could really start off some trouble here. Doromus! Oh, that is a big teleport here. I'm not sure if Urst copped the brunt of that. But Doromus hit the wall on my screen, then teleported into the pit lane. I'm not sure if he should be continuing at this point. But it is Urst now running free in P3, Dumarkina in 4th, and there's Guzman and Matimar. They're both on the hard tyres now, so they're going for an interesting swap of strategy and potentially going for a soft stint to finish the race. It's Urst, Flix, and Figueira in. Figueira and Flix in for the soft tyres, and Dumarkina has caught up to them. Matimar on the hards, Guzman on the hards, Doromus on the soft tyre. Oh my goodness. Urst finding a lot of trouble on that pit exit. He's gotten right with X6 and Kiato. They're both diving right in. X6 finding the gravel there at the end of that corner, rounding out that back straight, and Urst is trying to hold on to this position as best he can. X6 has the overspeed though. He might make the move into turn 1. This battle for P7. Urst has the inside though. He makes a good line of it, and he holds onto the position there. X6 just trying to make a move that wasn't going to work in that spot. Jaruni and Ethan, 10th and 11th, sorry, still on the hards. Jaruni on some fresher hards than Ethan by the tiniest amount, so they did pit on the same lap. Jake, followed by Rams, who was on some fresh soft rubber. You might be wanting to get through, and so will Nakes, the Australian, trying to get through. Oh, dude, he just got a little bit of a shove there from the trailer. We'll go back to the lead. Sorry, I'm stuttering all over the place for this race, but it is still Figueira in the lead of the race. Flix just, I think he's just outside slipstream range, actually. But Figueira was slower on that lap, so Flix might be able to get back into the slipstream in a moment or two. It is quite tight. It has been quite tight between these two drivers. Now it's Dumarkina fighting well with Matimar and Guzman. Dumarkina still trying to hold on these medium tyres. Not sure if the strategy is really working out for him. Maybe the hard tyres could provide a benefit if he comes in now. Guzman finding some trouble there, getting shoved off the side on the straight there by Matimar. Doromus also trying to contend with these drivers here. He will have to make another stop, and so will everyone else in this pack. Dumarkina will be hoping that the mediums can guide him for another lap at the very least. Oh, that's a big problem there for Dumarkina, finding the grass there, just unable to make the grip work any longer. He's got to make a stop now. I don't see he can't go on for another set of another stint on this, surely. There he goes into the pits. He's probably going to go into the hards. He's going to be the first person to pit. No! Dumarkina is going for the soft tyre. And so is X6. So, with 13 laps to go, both drivers are hedging their bets on 2 sets of soft tyres. That is very interesting, because I'd say the hards can definitely make the end of the race from this point of time. As I say that, Doromus is in, and he is in for the hard tyres, so he'll be the first person to be on his final stint of the race. And he is coming out just ahead of Girouni. He's through on Girouni, who will have to pit once again. But Doromus now is the first driver who's going to be running to the end of the race now. He doesn't have to pit anymore, and this undercut could provide quite the benefit ahead of Matimar and Guziman, who he was fighting with before he made that stop. But Girouni also hoping to get a bit of extra slipstream, trying to make his last stint a little bit easier for himself. Dumarkin on some fresh soft tyres there. He might have given away a few positions with that decision there. So would have X6 Rusky and Ethan in between those two. X6 now in P11. Then it is Bunyo in 12th, Kiato, then Rams, Nakes, Bubbles, then Jake and Goose at the end of it. But it is Figueroa, and he's on some fresh mediums, so he's also going to be running to the end of the race. Flicks on some fresh mediums as well. Matimar and Guziman actually a full pit stop behind the two now, and Flicks is fighting some trouble with the two hard runners here. And he's lost the slipstream to Figueroa seemingly again. I feel like he might have just gotten it back before the pit stop phrase, but once again he's lost out. And the mediums will have to be the choice of tyre to run to the end between these two. Can Figueroa hold on to this position? Because Flicks and Figueroa have actually gone on the same strategy for the entire race, and I just wonder, potentially, if Flicks could have done something different and maybe gone for a alternate strategy to maybe offset his tyres to Figueroa and maybe get some extra track position with that. Guziman and Matimar both in, and they're both in for soft tyres. That'll have to run for the next 8 laps of the race. Doromus is through on the both of them though, on the hard tyres. We'll have to see if he can manage to hold off the soft runners. Dumarkina getting in the way of Matimar there, but he's fallen just behind of him. Urist on the softs now as well, pitting just ahead of X6. Will have to stop once again. And it's Girouni on some fresh rubber in P9. Kiato hopefully running to the end on those hard tyres, but has to contend with Ethan on some fresh softs, and Ethan is through. Brit just getting past. But Kiato is not letting this fight go to waste anymore. Ethan side by side with him now in that battle for P10, but the soft tyres will just have too much grip at this point compared to the hards, I believe. And there you go. Ethan on Kiato. Rusky ahead of Rams for the time being, but Rusky on those fresher mediums will be dragging Rams along potentially into another battle. Jake now in P14. Those hard tyres working quite well for him. Bunyo, it's James, and it's Nakes, Bubbles, Goose, and that is it. Dumarkin and X6 will be the last ones to pit for today. Doromus still holding on to P3 ahead of Guziman, Matimar, Urist in P6, then Girouni in 7th. Can he hold on to that position against Dumarkin, who's on some fresh rubber now in P8? Ethan, then Kiato, they're fighting for P9 now as X6 makes that stop. Can X6 run back to the top 8 or even the top 9? Or will Rams and Rusky try to follow him through? It looks like Rams and Rusky have their own battle to deal with here. Rusky still ahead. Then it's Jake still in P14. But let's go back to the leader, because Figueroa has absolutely blitzed away from Flicks here. With 4 laps to go, he's got almost a 3-second gap. And it's looking better and better for the Portuguese driver here. The Portuguese-Japanese driver getting through that sequence of corners once again. And he's just building the gap, it feels like. Flicks is unable to contend on pure pace on these medium tyres. So that might be the race win almost settled here. Matimar getting through now into P3. He's gotten past Doromus, and so is Guziman, but he is run away from Guziman. He doesn't have the slipstream, so if Matimar can stay error prone, he can sew up that podium, and it will be a double podium for Riker Auto if he can manage it. Doromus now in P5. Still on the hard tyres. He's struggling a little bit. Can Urist find a way to catch up to him? Might be a bit too much to ask. 4 seconds back with 2.5 laps to go. Girouni chasing down the Bobcat driver here in P7. Then it's Dumarkin in 8th. Kiato, Ethan, and X6 trying to get past through against Heritage Performance driver. Oh, it's a big shove there. Ethan unable to make the corner there, and X6 getting into his wake. I think that has to be a position given there. Ethan is still trying to fight this though. X6 has wedged his way into the inside, and he's made the move there. into P10. And I think there's not really a good chance there for Ethan to really fight back. X6 has got such better tyres compared to him at the current moment. Rams and Rusky still fighting away for P12 here. Bunyo and James' Snakes have gotten through on Jake. But it is Figueroa who has calmly set the pace the whole race here. And he will win the feature race here at Margaret Island. Flicks will round out a solid P2 result for him. And Matimar will hold on to the podium here. It is a 1-3 for the Rika Auto team. Guziman in P4. Then it's Doromis in P5. Urist will head home in 6th place with that alternate strategy. Then it's Daruni in 7th. Dumarkina ahead of Kiato as the gaps really start to blow up. But Ethan tries to get that slipstream. X6 will still hold him at the end. Rusky will finish in P12, followed by Rams and Bunyo. Next in 15th, sorry. Jake behind them. Then it's Bubbles in 17th. And Goose still, I believe, a lap down to round us out. So that Rams actually gave the position to Rusky at the end there. Interesting. But, yeah. Good result there for Figueroa. And I believe he's going to be back into P2 at the end of that. Guziman only taking 4th after winning the sprint race, of course. And the fastest lap going to X6 with a 26.87. So that'll be all for today. Figueroa, Flicks, and Matimar are your podium for the Hungarian C-Prix feature race today. And that should definitely give Figueroa back P2 in the championship. Guziman in P4 will hold on to 3rd place as Rams might actually lose the position to Jaruni in that battle for P4 there. Anyways, Doromis, solid result in P5 there, with the hard tyres working out at the end. Urist with the alternate strategy gets into P6, then it's Jaruni in 7th, Dumarkina, Kiato, then it's X6 rounding the top 10, taking that fast lap as well for the Mazda Motorsport team. Ethan in 11th, followed by Rusky, then Rams, Bunyots, James, Nakes, and then Jake, Bubbles, and Goose round out the finishes here with Red Lobster retiring after just 5 laps, I believe. But that is all for today. Thank you for this. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for participating in another eventful round of Challenger League. And we head to Shuvashia next round for the race at Amazonia Park. We'll see you then.